icy this morning. Slow and steady. A lot of people get confused about the reason the trucks are limited to 20 miles per hour on the bridge. It is sometimes because of high wind. I mean, that is a factor, but the big reason is the weight of the truck and what it does to the bridge when you're going too fast. It actually creates a momentum of force that can actually cause damage to the bridge if you're going in excess of 20 miles per hour with a heavy vehicle. So they monitor it very carefully, and they don't want loaded trucks going over 20 on the bridge at any time, regardless of the wind conditions. There are cameras all the way across here, and it's very heavily monitored. So we just take our time. It takes about 15 minutes to cross like this, but that's okay. We'll get there when we get there. Water runs underneath the middle of this bridge is actually very, very deep. If I remember correctly, I'd say somewhere in the neighborhood of 300 to 400 feet deep, the Straits of Mackinac. It was carved out by glaciers ages and ages ago, and it's actually one of the deepest points on the Great Lakes, the Straits of Mackinac. So if you should ever happen to fall in with a vehicle, odds are that's where you're going to stay. I do this run every day, the same time. It's always going to the same destination, from the same origin, on the same schedule. Sometimes weather ties us up a little bit, but we try to keep it punctual. People are depending on us, Everybody else's job depends on us to be there on time. So, but as you know, nothing in these trailers is ever more important than human life. So when weather turns bad or things become unsafe, this truck stops, no matter how much of a hurry anybody is in. That's just part of being a professional. You hear the flashers going. Of course, 20 miles per hour with everybody else limited to 45 on the bridge. Kind of a hazard, even though we're keeping in the right lane, so we try to keep the flashers on, let people know we're going slower than them, give them a heads up so they don't rear end us. This is the middle part of the bridge right here. So we're probably about a mile into the bridge right now. It's about 4 miles across the Straits of Mackinac. Here's the cables. You can see the tower up ahead, one of the towers. Those are the two only points of the bridge that go down into the water. The rest of it is just suspension bridge. So it's really quite a long span between anchor points. And this bridge, if I remember correctly, it's actually engineered to swing up to 40 feet in high winds. So if you can imagine that, if you're on this bridge during high winds, even though you may not be feeling it, this bridge could be swinging up to 40 feet side to side. at any given time. It's all relative. When you're talking about lakes as big as Huron and Michigan, and a bridge as big as the Mackinac, 40 feet is really millimeters by comparison. We're getting pretty close to the halfway point of the bridge. There's a mile marker around here somewhere. I'll point it out when I see it. Not much activity at this time of the morning. A lot of times I'm the only person on the bridge. But still have to be careful. Always watch your mirrors. Watch the other guy. Everybody else is driving faster, so gotta make sure you stay in the right lane, stay out of the way. No passing allowed for trucks on this bridge, ever, for any reason. Unless the lane is closed. If there's construction or something and the lane is closed, then you can use the left lane. Other than that, right lane only. Never ever left lane for trucks on this bridge. It's pretty calm tonight, or I should say this morning. There's not much wind, but last week the wind was blowing 60 miles an hour over this bridge and they had to close it. It was actually too dangerous for us to cross. When the wind speed is sustained at over 60 miles an hour, they close the bridge to all traffic. When it's 25 to 40 or so, they may close it to trucks, but leave it open to cars, or they may put what they call a high-profile vehicle warning out, which basically means anybody that's hauling a trailer, such as an RV, a semi, anything that can easily be blown around by the wind, is not going to be allowed to cross. Or in some cases, they will just ask those vehicles to reduce their speed to 20 miles an hour, like the semis. Last week, though, it was closed for several hours. And I was late getting back because of it. Not a big deal. We don't worry about things like that. No stopping on the bridge, ever. Don't ever do that. Unless you've got a serious emergency. The minute you stop, the state police will be here to find out why. So you'd better have a good reason. Well, we're well past the halfway point now. In fact, we're 2.5 miles across the bridge. I just passed the 1.5 mile marker. So we're 1.5 miles from Mackinac City. Keeping it steady here, 20 miles an hour. And like I said, it takes me about 15 minutes to cross the bridge like this. It is kind of tedious, but you get used to it. And like I said, it's absolutely necessary to prevent, damage to the bridge. So every time this bridge gets damaged by a truck driving too fast, it has to be repaired. And that costs the bridge commission money, which in turn costs us money when the tolls get more expensive. So, better to just obey the law and keep the bridge safe for everybody. Besides, paying tickets sucks. I'd rather set fire to my money. At least that way I get some warmth out of it. Paying tickets is just money gone. You'll never see it again. Trucks and buses keep 500-foot spacing, the sign says. Yes, they enforce this. And yes, there's a reason also. They need to space that weight out across this bridge. They can't have it all in one spot. So if they see you tailgating on this bridge, they're going to call you out on it when you get to the other side. They're going to kindly ask you not to do it again. And possibly they'll give you a fine to help you remember. Little bit of ice piled up on shore already. Not much, it's only December. Alright, and we're coming up to the end of the bridge here. Still 20 miles an hour until you reach the end of that guardrail. Do not get caught. Don't be fooled. Alright. And that was it. That's the end of the bridge. Now we can step on it. Mackinac City. I-75 takes you all the way down to Detroit and into Ohio. And, should you be ambitious, all the way to Miami. But we're not going there today. We're stopping right here in Mackinac City because I've had enough for one day.